All right, well, hello everybody. Welcome to our Venture Brothers movie commentary track. I'm Chris,
I'm Eric. Hi.
and what we're going to do today is just kind of give you a second to make sure that your movie is synced up with our commentary. So I'm going to be starting Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart in 3, 2, 1, play.
And we are go.
And we're go.
Get your docktails ready.
Okay, so for this commentary, Eric, you've made us some special beverages. Would you like to describe them to the people at home?
I made some docktails. Some Dr. Venture's own, made up drinks.
Oh, God, I said that again.
That are terrible. Dr. Venture loves them. He swears by them. Chris is having the classic red Moco cooler, which, as you might know, is Kahlua. A little bit of Hershey syrup.
Just a layer of Hershey syrup that was specifically not mixed into the drink.
No mixing.
No, apparently not. And then some Kool-Aid that was just dripped on top of it.
Red Kool-Aid. That is where the red Moco.
Yeah, it's not a very red beverage, and the chocolate has seemed to coalesce into just kind of like
tentacles.
I don't know if you've ever seen semen in water, but something along that.
Like frogmen, scuba guys.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of clumped up like scuba guys in there, and just mixing around and floating, almost to the point where it doesn't want to go up the straw. Sometimes, interestingly,
Sure.
And it tastes a lot like Kahlua.
It is 90% Kahlua.
And Eric is drinking, what was that called?
This is a Slim Jim Fizz, which is a slow gin fizz with a Slim Jim accompaniment. And it's actually quite refreshing. It's very hot outside. This is really nice. Yeah. Mine is good.
Yours is good, but every time you try to take a sip of it, you have to not get that Slim Jim in your nose.
It doesn't really bother me that much.
Okay.
I would enjoy...
Would you enjoy it more if it was a muddled Slim Jim?
No. Absolutely not. I'll tell you what I'm not looking forward to. I'm kind of mixed on it, actually.
Okay.
Is enjoying the Slim Jim at the end of the drink.
Well, I think... You're giving it a lot of credit to say that you will be enjoying it once you get to that point.
I was trying to be generous.
But yeah, this is Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart. And as probably not the world's biggest Venture fans, because there's always going to be people out there that like stuff more than you do, but as two people who have spent the better part of 20 years watching, talking about, and being excited about Venture Brothers episodes.
Anticipation.
It's very, very satisfying to get a movie that's not only so well done, but also like kind of leaves it open for maybe in the future if it ever happens. You never know. It probably won't, but it's super nice. And
Order the Triad spinoff.
Order of the Triad spinoff would be very fun. I think that there is a lot of people online. I've been looking at the Reddit posts a lot since the movie came out that felt a little like disappointed in the movie, where they didn't cover every little thing. Like people are wondering, oh, well, who was Scare Bear and what happened to Jonas's head? And at the end of the day, that type of stuff doesn't really matter because that's not what the show's ever been about.
No.
Like it's always been about family and about finding yourself and about like kind of...
And facing and dealing with failure.
Yes. And growing from failure.
And growing, yeah.
Yeah. There was a long time where it was very much, it felt like the show was just kind of about failure. I think in seasons like 2 and 3, where everything that everybody tries just kind of gets worse and worse and worse. But overall, like they do like tend to pick themselves up and come back, and everybody here in this movie is such a better person than they were in seasons 2, seasons 3, seasons 4.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just really nice to see. So we have some interesting facts. We've done a lot of research on this. We know there is already a commentary by Doc Hammer and Jackson Public for the DVD. If you haven't watched or listened to that yet, you definitely should. But, we just wanted to kind of enjoy this last, Venture Brothers that we may ever get together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because, God, it's been forever.
Oh, man.
It's been so long.
It always is.
Every time we sit down to watch a new Venture Brothers, it's always been forever since the last one.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, Venture Brothers fans have grown very good at waiting. Oh my God, this is disgusting.
Definitely, being a fan instills the virtue of patience.
Yes.
Which I think helped us in our quests in fatherhood, our own quest in fatherhood, which is a topic that is streamed throughout the show because, of course, Rusty is a father and
a mother.
And a mother. Should we go ahead and spoil that?
Well,
for anyone who's following along and hasn't watched it yet, but why would you watch a commentary track for a movie you haven't watched yet? Okay, moot point.
Yes. As a father and a mother, it's very, very satisfying. Like, I was trying to think back. I know he's told Dean that he loves him.
Yeah.
Before. But I don't know if Dr. Venture, ever really told Hank that he loves him.
Mm.
And just that kind of, acknowledgement at the very end of this movie where he says, I promise whoever gave birth to you loved you very much. And... it's such a nice thing because he has become the inverse of his dad. He was always never going to turn out like Jonas, but
Jonas was always just present enough.
Just present enough to
and just barely that.
But he was so antagonistic towards his own son that Rusty, even with all of the, I love this joke. That's so good.
Good gag.
And look, this is Stranger. What is it? S4 something. That's the one who was in love with the guild operator.
Oh,
he had PPE on his belt.
Yeah. Okay.
For Peril Partnership, which kind of gets pushed to the side for this movie. I thought that perhaps what ends up being Arch in this movie was going to be more about the Peril Partnership.
The Slim Jim grease is leaking on the bottom of the glass from the Slim Jim.
Well, I have to say there are very few less disturbing sentences than the Slim Jim grease is now leaking. It's coming for us. Everyone run.
Mm. Well, everyone's dad is at least a little antagonistic of him because your dad is this larger than life figure where it's you kind of have to live up to those expectations and his accomplishments. That's how I feel about a lot of father-son relationships. As an outsider, kind of outside looking in, because my dad wasn't really.
Your dad was gone for
most of
your life.
Yeah.
I can't believe you finished your drink already.
It was really good. It's much better than a fucking red mocha cooler. Moment of truth is the Slim Jim.
All right, take a bite. I'm
gonna take a bite on the end that's been sitting in the drink the longest.
Yeah, I was about to say, make sure you go for the soaked end.
Oh yeah.
How's that?
It still tastes overwhelmingly like a Slim Jim.
Okay.
But you get a little fruitiness at the beginning.
Okay.
You get a fruity, a short little fruity start, and then just a spicy, meaty finish. Snap into a Slim Jim.
I love the fact in the story that there is so much Helper. I was not expecting in this movie to have the amount of Helper that we got. And also for Helper at the end to that noise that he makes when Hank and Dean are ready. It's very much if Dr. Venture, obviously Dr. Venture is kind of both their maternal and paternal figure, but Helper also is almost equally as part of their, he's an equally important member of their family.
Oh, absolutely. Like a live-in nanny.
Yeah.
Or like a crazy aunt. I love the dichotomy of Helper. Because he's so loving and nurturing, but if there's any robot competition, he's absolutely fucking ruthless.
Yeah. He often speaks of the coming war between man and machines.
I really would have loved to have seen more walking eye Helper.
Yeah, we only got that one kind of little stinger of the... No, Dean, he's fine.
Still the same old Helper.
So going back recently, we just rewatched most of Tag Sale You're It, and it's funny how in that episode there are so many people that would come back to be very, very important characters later in the show, but at the same time, they're already mostly fleshed out.
It's a lot. Yeah, they'd fleshed out a lot of those characters, but a lot of them were established in that episode. Bear and Underbite. I think.
Well, no, we get Bear and Underbite before.
Okay.
We get Bear and Underbite in the second or third episode. But then, Billy and Pete right here,
and St. Cloud.
And St. Cloud, although St. Cloud is
always a background guy, and then they flushed him out later, or they might have had him already flushed out and decided, you never know. I loved this fucking scene.
Oh, with the his ex-girlfriend and Debbie St. Cloud.
Yeah, like it just becomes, a happenstance that 21 sees someone in colors, but it's like, oh, this was orchestrated. Because of course it was.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
No one just stands like that with their back to you unless they want you to have like the dramatic turnaround moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't. 21 had mentioned you don't really see people with their colors in the subway, which isn't
just a little bit of a heads up that like, hey, something might not be right here.
Well, I mean, kind of, but the Monarch did ride the subway in his full costume when he was a level 4.
Mm-hmm. But he didn't want to.
He didn't want to. I mean, who the fuck would?
Yeah, that's fair. So you said something interesting. You said that originally the character artist wanted Hank and Dean to not have belly buttons.
Not have belly buttons.
And do you think that if that had been the case, we would have gotten the ending that we got? Because
it wouldn't have made any sense because you still had to have an umbilical cord.
Exactly.
And that brings me to another point.
Okay.
Was JJ a factor in any of that?
No, JJ is mentioned by Old Ben in the Halloween episode when he's checking out it's either when he's like performing a test on Dean or maybe he's just talking, but he mentions the fact that it doesn't have any belly babies. It's like, oh, no belly babies in this one. So the fact that version of Rusty ended up with JJ is something that was then ironed out in later clone versions. And I think that's why, since Malcolm was, if Malcolm was created using Rusty and then the Baboon DNA to negate the hair loss, then that must mean that Monarch was second. So Rusty's slightly older as a clone. And then Malcolm would have had the internal belly baby issue removed and taken care of. And that's why he would never grow a JJ like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that's another interesting point. So do we think, and the fact that JJ exists gives me a little bit more of an idea that this might be the case, but does Rusty have a mom? Or is Rusty a straight clone of Jonas, but he like was fucking with it just to see what kind of kids he could come up with? Because the other option, or not the other option, but the other intriguing thing that most fan theories tend to believe is that the monkey that's in Old Ben's house is the opposite.
Oh.
Where he's 99% baboon and then a little percent human. Yeah. And that's why, because if you look, we'll point it out at the end, but if you look, he also has one of those I gave blood stickers.
Oh, right. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Brick Frog!
Brick Frog! I love how excited, like, because this was the
this was the realization. Oh yeah,
Brick Frog. This was the preview that they gave, and they cut it off right before all the council members get excited about Brick Frog. And I was just like, oh, that's the best part. Why would you leave that out? With like 10 exclamation points.
Exclamation is everything in a quitting note.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to have the right punctuation.
So I do think that here's a question that I wanted to propose to you.
Sure.
Who do you think, excluding our main cast, and I'm going to relegate the title of main cast because this show is like, whoo boy.
Yeah.
I'm going to relegate this to Venture Family plus Brock. So besides Venture Family plus Brock, which character do you think had the most growth and change? And I guess I want to take the Monarch out too, because my immediate thought is the Monarch.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Monarch. So ancillary characters. Who do you think has changed the most over time? To me, I think that it's Phantom Limb, but in this like very interesting way, where he is now back to like where he was when we met him.
Right. He had his whole.
But he had an entire ridiculous arc. Revenge. The Revenge Society. Wisdom, you cunning fool. I should have never doubted you. He's talking. Why can't I hear anything? Because you are sane.
I love Red Mantle and Dragoon.
Red Mantle and Dragoon are fantastic.
But you have to throw like 21 into that conversation.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
Not just because of his physical transformation, but he became more, less of a drab wallflower, just whatever, I'm here, to like determined.
Yes.
And bound to service to the monarch even farther. And then he had that whole thing where, you know, his whole guilt about 24's death.
Talking to 24's head in his room.
And then he saw him for a while, and then he didn't see him anymore. And then you had that other scene where it's like his voiceover shows up for a split second when Monarch becomes the Blue Morpho and they do the Star Wars thing in the fucking cave in the basement.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
It's like that's the only other time 24 shows up after that.
Mm-hmm. I love the entire reason that Doctor Strange agreed to buy this house, or Doctor Strange, the Doctor Orpheus agreed to buy this house is because Alchemist showed it to him. He's like, look, it has a Doctor Strange window. But in the pamphlet, it looks like a straight up Doctor Strange logo. But then if you see it here, it's like a Jewish star, right? This used to be like a synagogue or something.
Oh, wow.
So it's very silly.
I mean, a repurposed synagogue, like, consider it hallowed ground. That'd be a good base of operations.
Yeah.
And it would make a lot of sense that he had a pants golem in the house because the original story of the golem was it was a stone engraved with a Hebrew rune on it, and it was put in a chunk of clay, and that chunk of clay came to life to protect the Hebrews.
I am not familiar with what Hebrew looks like, but when we get to that moment here in just a second, if we haven't already passed it, I don't think we have because it's when he runs out to ask about the car. But is that a Hebrew symbol on the sock that Alchemist picks up? He's like, oh, I found the off switch because there's like a symbol on the sock.
Yeah, there's a symbol on the sock.
Okay, interesting.
It may have been a pi symbol.
I don't recall exactly what it was, but we'll see it here in just a minute.
I haven't watched this as many times as you have.
No, I've watched this probably 3 or 4 times by now. It's the last one, so I'm really like trying to soak it all in.
That's
right there.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to give us a close-up.
Yep, there is a rune on it.
Yeah. That's not the pi symbol.
It's not pi, but it is definitely Hebrew.
It's a rune.
Yeah.
I love that this movie does pick up immediately after the show, and that Hank still, like, when he goes back into his coma, he goes back to Barbarella World. This scene is fantastic. This is such a good scene.
Yeah. It's Hank and all his personalities is fantastic. Oof.
So yeah, Scare Bear. Big question mark as to who that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better if we don't know in the long run.
I love the questions in the air and the ambiguity. Like that's half the fun.
Yeah,
you know, it really is. You know, and it wouldn't be a venture anything if they didn't leave anything hanging like that. You know, just something for us to grab onto until the next tentative maybe or maybe not thing.
Yeah. Now, this whole him like sitting in a moving vehicle and talking to different personalities is very reminiscent of, like, obviously they say it, he even says it, I think, in the movie, but it's the high fidelity scene where John Cusack is talking to all of his ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Also really, like, wonderfully done in the book Killing Yourself to Live by Chuck Klosterman, which is right up there on the bookshelf, which is a really good book about it's a guy takes a road trip to all of the famous sites where rock and roll tragedies happened. So, like, the place where the bridge where Kurt Cobain shot himself, the venue where the floor fell out and all the people that were upstairs died, that sort of thing. So it's like every time there was a big important death in rock and roll history, it was kind of like a road trip across America to those places.
I'm gonna have to read that.
It's very good. It's right there. You can take it home if you want.
Cool.
But in that book, this is around the time when High Fidelity was getting really popular, and he's also going through relationship troubles because he's a writer driving across the country to look at rock and roll death sites. Of course he is. Mm-hmm. And so he does the same thing where he sits down and you create these have you ever done that, like, kind of when you're by yourself, sit down and, like, come up with not so much fictional people, but, like, bring those people around so you can try and, like, hear their opinions and ideas?
Yeah.
I like that he changes the clicky for every
the multicolored classic pen that everyone was jealous of.
Mm-hmm.
If you had it. But yeah, I mean, you kind of have to do that, segment your personality a little bit, and, kind of have a conversation with yourself. Like, it doesn't hurt to have a little bad in you.
All right, so here's a quiz question for you.
Oh.
What version of Hank is the red jumpsuit?
Oh, man.
Who is that?
Russian Guyevich.
Yes!
That's Russian. I had to search my memory banks.
I was wondering. I couldn't remember. Like, the whole time I watched the movie the first time, I was like, who is that? Like,
because I know I've heard that accent out of before.
Yeah, that's Russian Guyevich.
That was at Showdown at Cremation Creek, right?
Showdown at Cremation Creek, which was one of, like, that was probably the episode where the show figured out what it was.
Oh, yeah, that solidified it for me. I was like, I knew this was good, but now it's something special.
Yeah. There's never been a better, like, turn from a show from it's just like, oh, this is fun. It's like little, none of this really matters.
Oh, it's Johnny Quest
making fun of, I like Johnny Quest when I was a kid. This is making fun of it. That's all fun and games. And then Showdown at Cremation Creek happens, and you're like, I'm sorry, what now?
Yeah, exactly.
We're doing what?
and also what and what with whom?
And then the next time you see Phantom Limb, he's fucking missing an arm and a leg, and he's talking to a shoe, and it's just like, what are we doing here? And when he goes and when he breaks into the guild and actually uses Chuck with the toaster, like breaking through all the security things, like it's so good.
So good.
And yeah, like you say, the evolution of 21 and really like kind of the Monarch and 21's relationship as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I rewatched the Lepidopterist episode, which we'll talk about later on, I think. But in that episode, when Dr. Girlfriend's like, or Dr. Mrs. the Monarch at the time, she's like, honey, why do you always use 21 and 24 for everything? It's like, well, I know it sounds silly, but they have this like perfect combination of unkillable and idiocy that just look for in a henchman. And then, number one dies, and it's just, but seeing 21 and 24 go from like the henchman to the Monarch to 21 and the Monarch being like best friends. Yeah. Like it was that Dr. Girlfriend was his number two for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And then once she became, leader of the guild, he didn't have a number two anymore. And 21 didn't have a best friend anymore because his head blew off.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was so good. I love how he's holding his hands in this. This is like Venture Brothers animation has always been. Their animators, I think this kind of goes with what you were saying about how the character artist didn't want them to have belly buttons because he was like, oh, they're clones, well, they shouldn't have this. And clearly, Doc and Jackson were just like, no, listen, trust us, they need belly buttons.
Yeah.
It'll come up later, I promise. In 20 years, but don't worry about
it. Trust the process.
Yeah, but even in like the little details of just how Shore Leave has his hands in his like upper jacket there, it's like that's how Shore Leave would have his hands. Like,
oh, absolutely. I don't. If he were dressed in such like naval regalia,
yeah, exactly,
he would absolutely just play it up.
Yeah,
and have his hands and just pull a double Napoleon.
Yes, exactly that. And I think it speaks to the fact that like all of these characters from their, again, when we're talking about the tag sale episode, all of these characters from their very, very first appearance are so incredibly fleshed out, and you feel like I don't think Shore Leave is a cartoon with a voice actor. Like Shore Leave, if he's not an actor, he is just a person.
Yeah.
He is not even an actor playing a person. He's just a person.
Yeah.
Like, and for as many different voices as the guy who voices Brock does, for, all over animated television. Mm-hmm. This is just always Brock. Like, even when I hear that voice in something else, it's not
Patrick Warburton, H. John Benjamin. It's like they're all the same character basically, but different. They're all different characters, but the same guy.
I don't know.
Deep down, it's all the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I think H. John Benjamin. I don't want to say that it's lazy.
Sure.
Because I don't think he can make his voice sound like anything else. Like it's so iconic and just that.
Yeah.
But he never changes anything. Like,
no, not a thing.
You can put a picture of Archer and a picture of Coach McGurk, and play H. John Benjamin's voice and look back and forth. It'll just be like, this is what's happening.
Yeah, you could put...
And then throw Bob up there, too. Yeah, like...
You could intersperse Coach McGurk's and Archer's lines all day, and it wouldn't even make a difference.
No, same show, really.
We missed Red Death, who was one of my favorite characters.
Oh, we'll be seeing more.
We'll be seeing more Red Death.
Well, we'll be seeing Daisy.
If we're on the subject of voice actors, like Clancy Brown.
It's so good.
I love Clancy Brown so much.
I love Red Death as a character. I love when they go to his house and meet his daughter for the first time. And you see her face, and she's just terrifying. And he's like, oh, she wants to ask you a question. She thinks you're a princess. It's so heartwarming and such like, again, we talk about family. Like, he has such a good family home life. His whole reason for joining the council is just like, my wife wants me to retire, and this is our way of compromise. You know, like he still wants to work because he doesn't want to be home all the time, but he wants to make sure his wife and his kid are taken care of and they're happy. Like,
at the end of the day, they're all just regular people. They're villains, sure, but, they play by a set of rules, and they have families.
Yeah, and that's
beautiful.
And that's something that I think was really interestingly discussed in in lots of episodes, but I think it really, like, starts to pop up for the first time in the Lepidopterist episode, where JJ just immediately goes to defending himself, and Brock's like, what? So you just want to kill him in front of his wife and all his land, and maybe piss on his corpse too and burn his children? It's like, well, he tried to kill me. Lots of apps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we were saying before we started, it's interesting the way the universe that this show lives in, where we can go back to season 3 and you have the alchemist making jokes about finding out his boyfriend is cheating on him via MySpace. But then now we're at a point where we're scanning QR codes with smartphones. But it never really seems like it's out of continuity or chronologically inaccurate, And I think we just kind of accept that because there's so long between episodes that
it's so rooted in its own past and its own lore that you kind of just don't even worry about it that much. But even if you did, there wouldn't be much there. It just goes so seamlessly.
So obviously this was meant to be a complete season. The movie was made after they found out they were canceled, and a lot of stuff had to be cut from when they were working on season 8 down into a movie. Mm-hmm. They wanted originally the plan was to have 3 different villains over the course of the season, as opposed to just Mantilla in this episode. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the most kind of like obvious moment where this was clearly meant to be a Jefferson Twilight episode.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I would have loved to have seen it.
Well, I think what we get is pretty good.
Is good.
Yeah. And that's totally dark.
Which has made me want the Order of the Triad spinoff even more. Just like this, I want to see more of this warehouse and these wacky assortment of characters.
All right, well, I've finished my red Moco cooler somehow.
Yep, and I have finished...
All right. That was a mistake.
Oh, you took the last sip.
I took the little...
No.
That was where the red was. I found the red. And you're right, it does just taste like red. Like that's how I would describe that.
No cherry, no strawberry.
No, yeah, it's not.
It's red and water.
It's not a
sugar.
flavor. It's just color. So yeah, I'm gonna have and switch to beer now. Wash that down.
Rinse that red out of your mouth.
Christ. But yeah, I would. The reason that I think if we'd have gotten this as a full episode, we would have also had the alchemist with them. Mm. The alchemist doesn't come on the trip, and really we don't see him again in the movie, I don't think.
No.
And it's kind of a shame because I love Dana Snyder. I love the alchemist as a character. But the reason for that is just basically like they didn't have time. Like they were cutting dialogue. They were cutting so many things. Like just the
Dana
amount
Snyder probably had a commitment.
Well, no. I mean, they literally said the reason that the alchemist stays behind is because they could not have so many extra pages of dialogue to have a third person commenting on everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And you have to think too. That's just gonna. If one more person is there and talking and being moved, that has to be animated. Like that takes so much time and money.
Yeah.
Now this scene right here, beautiful. I love seeing the Venture compound kind of completely gone and broken apart. It very much is again one of those kind of how far we've come moments. And obviously they really hammer it home here. This is very first episode with them looking for Scamp, and then Mekashiva's fun. Lots and lots of callbacks. Dr. Sin right there. I love that. Yeah, you're invincible, Hank.
You are immortal, like the Highlander.
I love that the puppet. There's your helper eye.
We just saw the lemonade
There's
grinder.
the lemonade grinder. And so this one right here, Ma Venture didn't raise no fools. We don't have a mom, which then cycles into this kind of little creepy scene. This is ripped directly from the unaired pilot. Like that is one of the first jokes in the entire show.
We don't have a mom, Hank. I remember we don't have a mom, Hank.
Yeah. It's literally like there's the scene where the guy's getting acupuncture. And then the guy comes in to show him Dr. Venture's revealed new latest creation, and then he throws the acupuncture needles at him, and then credits, and then it's them playing around. I think they were like looking for Scamp, and then it's the we don't have a mom, and that's the end joke there. And here is Dr. Venture's only child bisexual intercourse.
Woo, Dermot! You want to talk about a developed character?
Yeah,
there you go.
Dermot's really gone in a slightly upper motion.
He sure has.
He's gone from like 0.1 to 0.6.
He got a haircut and got a real job.
He got a real job because he thinks Brock's his dad.
Does he still think that?
I think he does still think that. I'm not entirely sure.
Do you hear they're going to start integrating AI into Alexas now? Like
that's a bad idea.
Well, yeah. Since we're on the helper pod scene,
let's not talk about AI. Let's not
get off the subject of Venture Brothers too much.
Yeah.
We can have little tangents.
I do like the helper pods. I think they're very cute, and I like the ads that they have that are very like Apple-y ads in the background. And I love that, that Billy's mom has still been around and plays such an important part and stuff. Like, it's so silly.
And is dating Colonel Gentleman.
Yeah. So here's a fun one that I realized while researching stuff or while watching old episodes. But the first time that Dr. Orpheus is introduced to the Action Man, do you remember this? He grabs his hand and gets a premonition. Do you remember what he says?
Oh, no, I don't.
He predicts that he'll die in a coma in 2 years and 18 days or 2 years and 19 days in some shit.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so then in season 6, he dies by heart attack.
Yeah.
He's like 2 years, 19 days till a heart attack or something like that when he touches him.
Yeah.
And then, later on when they're looking at Jonas's head in the problem light, he has that heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very interesting. These belly button things.
Oh, man. That scene where they're in space and the helper pods are generating the gravitation.
Oh, it's so gross.
I legitimately thought they were all going to fucking die.
I thought they might. Yeah. Like, it really goes for it for just half a second. Yeah. Like, oh boy.
I was like, this is not looking good. This is bad. This is very, very bad.
Oh, that beer is just so much better than the DuckTales.
Than a red Moco cooler. Thank your lucky stars. We're not having fucking ruddy bottoms and what was the other one that fucking sounded horrible with the...
Oh, they all sounded horrible. You listed them off and I'm just like, I'm telling you, man, I think we might throw up. So yeah, follow that bikini,
bikini,
which was referenced. When did you say?
Season 6, episode 3, when Hank is a pizza guy and they order pizza. It was Wide Whale had thrown a party
Right.
for Serena, and they had ordered pizza. So,
And is that when he does the Enrico Montoya?
I'm not sure if he
comes in as the pizza guy, and then he gets kicked out, and then he comes back as Enrico Montoya.
He doesn't get kicked. Okay, I think you're right. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. He comes back with the mustache. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. And then Rocco recognizes him the second time he comes back, and then he has to hide in Serena's room, and then Serena's watching Follow That Bikini.
Okay. So lots of stuff going on right here. You can see the orb right here in the bottom left of the safe.
Yep.
Shallow gravy poster. Absolutely. This is when the Easter eggs like really start to go into high gear. So the video that they were watching on YouTube right there was uploaded by Augustus St. Cloud. He doesn't make it into the movie, but he makes it there. And other videos that he uploaded are like listed if you pause it really fast. So there's also the truth about the moon landing.
Okay.
Which is funny because in just a little bit we'll see like a quick shot of like Jonas and Bobby St. Simone like faking the moon landing. And then there is also one called Deadly Candiru Fact or Fiction. Which is a fun callback to something the Monarch
naughty little fish.
Now look at this thing down here on the floor that Hank's about to pick up. Not that's a blue thing.
Yeah. Fucking Death Clock poster back there.
Was that a Death Clock poster?
Yeah, it was a Death Clock poster.
Nice. All right, so when we cut back here to look at Hank, right there, he is holding the pregnancy belly that Rusty wears.
I thought that was
And that's the Walker eye.
That's the Walker. I thought that was Vendatta's helmet.
No, that's the pregnancy stomach. He's sitting there talking about wanting to find his mom
while holding,
and he's holding the womb that he was in. Yeah. Wow.
Fucking crazy. Dynomutt. Dynomutt homage. I love Blue Falcon and Dynomutt. Dynomutt's so fun. Like, I like the demure Dynomutt over the goofy Dynomutt, but
right.
You know, you can't help but love him. He's a goof.
I love the Foxy poster that Jackson has. Or not Jackson. Why am I blanking on his name? Jefferson. Oh yeah, Blackula fight.
Marauding Blackulas.
I love all of his little gadgets. Like we haven't really gotten a lot. Like it's happened every once in a while, but it always like we catch the tail end of a Blackula fight, you know.
Yeah.
But as you say, like doing a spinoff Order of the Triad thing,
it's perfect. It's too perfect. It's so perfect that they'll never fucking do it.
No, we'll probably get something dumb like I don't know, whatever this version of like the Exticles would be. Like remember when Frisky Dingo ended and we just got those 2 Exticles episodes?
Yeah.
I don't know, because honestly, like I would be okay if it was just about the Monarch's henchmen, but he doesn't have henchmen anymore, and that would just be the same show again. Yeah, look at all that.
I suppose you could do OSI. But like it's not nearly as intriguing as Order of the Triad.
And Order of the Triad could do more things. Like they could do all types of genre horror fiction. Because you have Orpheus and like just giving like Dana Snyder more work.
The well is so deep. It is so deep with material. And it's not like they haven't gone to the supernatural / cryptid well before.
Oh no. I mean, they do a lot.
A lot. And there's still so much more. They barely scratched the fucking surface. And then, like, Shaved Bigfoot shows up one day. You know, it's like, oh, you're the one causing all the trouble or some shit. You know, they just, like, have little, like, tiny cameos, like, from unexpected characters. Not necessarily, like, your Brocks or your Doc Ventures. Like, Tor, it'll probably show back up a couple of times.
I wish that JJ was still alive a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see more of him. I love that he does continue to, like, pop up after he dies as the hologram alarm. I think that's very good, and it's a very, like, haunting thing for Rusty to have to deal with.
There's a part of me that thinks that a part of Rusty just didn't want to turn it off. Cause
There's definitely probably that.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
And the little piece of his brother that he's got left every single morning. Now, if he can just push back the alarm, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Like, if you can have a dead relative, that's a scruples question. If you can have a dead relative as a personal holographic assistant, would you?
No.
Absolutely no. Same. Would not.
I would not want that.
No.
that would be weird and creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But then, that's right on brand for Dr. Venture, though.
Yeah.
Rosanna, like... Just dig in. Just dig in.
Oh, and I love the cannon that shoots the logo, but it's not big enough for anybody to fucking go through.
Now, another interesting part here is if you look at the what happens when Brick Frog breaks into the other place earlier that kind of set the OSS off. That's the same exact machine. Like, it's the exact same one. So with Arch being like, quote unquote fake, I guess they just have this one, flying tank that shoots a logo.
Sure.
And Brick Frog just adjusted it to be...
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's like a 3D printer. You can make it
speaking
whatever
of...
shape you want. Hey, it's JJ.
Speak of the ghost. It wouldn't be a Venture Brothers episode if we didn't get one last trip to the panic room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hatred doesn't get a whole lot to do in the movie, but I think that's fair.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good use of Hatred.
Yeah, I love that they just. At some point, he was just a rent-a-cop at the lobby. It was like, yeah, that fits.
Well, because Brock is back, so they don't
Brock
really
is
need
back.
him as to protect Dr. Venture or the boys. Something that's never super explained in this is how they have like video footage of Dr. Girlfriend doing this, but I think that's easily like video manipulation.
I figured it was video manipulation or part of Debbie's powers. Like, she can just project. Like Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, she can do projections and shit, I think.
Oh, can she?
I'm pretty sure she's done that before. Don't quote me on that. I could be confusing her with another invisible force field superheroine.
Okay. It is funny that we do after, like, we've had Phantom Limb who had invisible limbs as a result of his, like, super science experiment.
And can totally mess a guy up by just touching him.
And then we had the Venture Brothers version of Sue Storm, which was something... what was
Sally Impossible.
Sally Impossible. Yeah. I couldn't remember the first name. I knew it was S. Sally Impossible, whose skin could go invisible.
Just her skin.
But nothing else. So
you've got the wow factor and the shock factor. She serves as a great distraction, and then other than that,
can't do much.
I'm sure she's a very nice lady. She seems very sweet.
She just seemed like she really needed somebody to pay attention to her more. Because, oh boy.
Oh yeah. Old Richard Impossible. Voiced by Bill Hader and Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert first, and then Bill Hader after.
Yeah.
And then, did we see him again after he got all stretched out?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. After he saved everybody at the museum.
Yeah, maybe he just died. Wait, it saved everybody? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I forgot when he was in Spire Skull Island.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Because I recently I had gone through and I was watching the Fantastic Four episode, and it was the Ignore Me, and when he gets all super stretched out, and then the metal bar slams back and hits him in the face, and he's all like. Yeah. He's like, and Brock's like, oh, that's messed up, Doc. And it's just him like flapping at the breeze on top of the tower. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a fantastic scene.
Mm-hmm.
I love this so much. The song that's playing here is It Takes Two by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. And
which is one of the few times that Adult Swim that I understand has shelled out for music for the show.
really,
Yeah, they were talking about that on the season 2 opener with Everybody's Free. Because
I love that opener so much.
Until up to that point, all the music was written by Doc Hammer and his buddies.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, and you can kind of feel that, I think, because the Venture Brothers does have very like their themes and their like kind of bumper. I don't know what you call that, but just like the audio that plays, like it's not really background music, but like just kind of the audio bumpers that the show does.
Yeah.
It's very iconic, but it's also like it's unique. It's not. It doesn't sound like anything else. I could definitely believe that it was just these guys again with a couple more of their friends that have instruments. Helpers on the Way. That's the one that I love.
Helpers on the Way. See, now that's good. Usually Doc's not really good with that marketing stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody else must have come.
Yeah, I was about to say,
one.
but somebody else said that. That was probably Pete or Billy. Oh, man, no, you know what? It was probably the pirate.
Yeah, got to be the pirate. He became really valuable despite his crippling trank addiction.
Like getting sucked off by an angel. Sweet angel with a tranquilizer dart. Wait. I'm not supposed to be in here.
Oh, that's the stuff.
Yeah, what was that, third episode? Ghost Pirates of the Sargasso? And so to go from like season 1, episode 3 to then like making it all the way to the movie.
That was middle of season 1. That was...
it was one of the first.
It was one of the first. It was...
Because it was...
like 6th or 7th.
Oh, I don't even think it was that far. I'll pull it up right now. Or go fuck yourself. How about that?
Oh, because I was right?
Yeah, season 1, episode 7, Ghost Pirates of the Sargasso.
I know that because I wasn't able to watch the fucking commentary on that one. My computer said no. Man, I had a fucking time with that. That was some bullshit.
Okay, so yeah,
make shit last longer.
All right, so so for everybody who's aware, if you haven't gone back in a while, and if you happen to be like us and have been like buying Venture Brothers DVD sets since they became available to purchase,
2006,
you may have a copy of Venture Brothers Season 1 DVDs from 2006 that it might be difficult for you to get to work. Why don't you tell people what happened?
So Chris had lobbed this idea of doing a commentary over this movie since we both enjoyed it and are such big Venture Brother nerds. I'm going to do a little research, So I was going to wake up one morning pretty early before my kids did and just watch the DVDs with some commentary from Doc Hammer, Jackson Public, and others.
Chris McCullough usually.
Chris McCullough. James Urbaniak shows up. Anyway, I get up, I dig out my DVDs, season 1s, 2, and 3. Season 4, I let you and Josh borrow.
It may be on that shelf.
Maybe.
If that's the case. If not, couldn't tell you.
Well,
all the DVDs I own are on that shelf, and I have not looked at them since I put them on that shelf 4 years ago when we moved in.
If it even fucking works.
If it even works anymore.
But anyway, I get up. I take out my disc 1 of season 1. I put it in my... and by the way, my discs are pristine. No scratches.
Yeah, you take care of your discs.
No smudges, all right? This is very important. If I let my uncle take care of shit, if I let him borrow anything, my Once Upon a Time in Mexico was fucked forever because of him. Anyway, so I put it in my PS5, the Venture Brothers season 1 disc.
Humble brag.
I just bought a PS5. Yes, I am one of the elites. I look down on the rest of you peasants. But anyway, I put it in my PS5. Nothing. I try it again. Nothing. I flip the disc upside down to see if that'll work in an act of desperation.
Maybe I'm just doing this wrong.
Nothing.
Maybe everything I've been taught is a lie.
I wish I could just blow on it as if it were a Nintendo cartridge. But yeah, nothing. And then I put it in my Xbox One. Nothing. I put it in my... I dig out the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Both nothing. I dig out a shitty portable DVD player from my garage, thinking, oh, this was specifically made to play DVDs. There's no way this is not going to not work. Nothing. It didn't work until I eventually was able to find time to put it in my PC. That it actually worked half the time.
Half the time?
Half the time. I got to watch, because there are only, I think maybe on the first disc, 4 or 5 of the episodes have commentary. I was only able to watch 2 of those, and then the rest of them just refused. Oh, go ahead.
I think that's very interesting because while you were doing this, you were telling me that you were having issues, and I was here Googling, trying to figure out if there was a solution or if this had happened to other people. And
there's a whole Reddit thread about it.
There are some Reddit threads that I found. I'll tell you, I found absolutely nothing about DVDs only working in computer and not working in DVD players. I found absolutely nothing.
It's weird, isn't it?
Everything was the other way around. Everything was just like, oh, if your DVD isn't working, you need to check your optical disc drive, or maybe your DVD's scratched, or blah, 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 blah. The only thing I found that was at all helpful was the thing that I sent you about, well, after 10 to 20 years, certain types of DVDs just go bad.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably accelerated because they were in my garage, and my garage is hot as piss.
Well, that's probably not good, yeah.
Yeah. So there's probably a plethora of DVDs in there that just don't fucking work anymore.
It's interesting, though, because people do seem to consider DVDs to be, like, more of a sustainable method of preserving your media than tapes were.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, good luck finding a working VCR.
Let's go to Goodwill.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that it'll work and stay working.
Well, there's not even a guarantee that it'll be there, but...
Yeah. Or not eat up your tape if you do decide to get one. But, everything's digital now anyway. I will definitely, I was going to say probably, but definitely end up getting the complete series on Blu-ray just because the box set is very attractive and I'm interested to see what kind of new special features they're going to put on it. Now, I would say that I would wait a while to see if they would release the series with the movie on the tail end of it, but I don't think
altogether. I doubt they would do that.
I don't think they would do that.
Yeah,
because I mean, just because money. but fucking this planned obsolescence shit. I'm so over it. I'm so over planned obsolescence, Christopher.
It's interesting. Yeah, like I said, I've had multiple files going back to 2003. On separate hard drives that have now been collated and combined into one on this computer and in another external hard drive just in case of all my Venture Brothers episodes. Sorry, I'm coughing. And so with that, it's very interesting because after watching the movie, going back and like looking at my files, it's just like, oh, last opened 2013. And yet like it still all works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And USB digital storage is an option. It's not the best option. I think you're a lot like me where you like to have physical media. But if it's the choice between something that's going to deteriorate and fall apart in 10 years or something that will actually last, I guess I'll just have to buy a new external hard drive every 10 years and retransfer everything over just to make sure. But, preservation is important. And as you say, planned obsolescence is a major problem in all forms.
Yeah.
All media.
Forms. Yeah. Not just in squeezing every penny from the consumer, but also just waste.
Well, it's incredibly frustrating because say if I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty right now, or if, let's say I wanted to play it 4 months ago. If I have an Xbox Series S, I can just turn it on. I can go to the Xbox store. I can download it, and now I have it, and then I can play it. Mm. But if I did that today, I can't, because now they're repackaging Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3 and selling it as the collector's edition, which isn't out yet. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But the two separate versions are currently not for sale anymore because they know that the combined version, which costs more, is coming out soon.
Oh, of course.
And it's infuriating.
Oh, yeah.
Because that game came out in fucking 1999. Or I'm sorry, 2001.
Do you
September of 2001.
They still have the collection that you have on PS3?
I do still have the collection that it's right up there.
Oh, nice.
Because I have it in digital or in physical
fucking media.
That being said, I have it for the PS3, which
I was told, someone told me that you could play PS3 disc on a PS5. Those bastards lied to me.
no, you can't. No, you cannot.
You fucking cannot.
You can play some PS4 discs on PS5.
Yes.
And speaking of that, did my Red Dead work?
Worked like a charm.
Good. I love Daisy. All right, so you see that gun right there that she's holding?
That's the sudden impact gun.
That's the sudden impact gun.
From your notes.
From my notes that I said earlier. Yes, that gun is from the Dirty Harry Callahan movie. Sudden Impact, 1983. 44 automatic Magnum.
Organic commentary.
Yeah.
With some notes.
I love the casual knife toss that she does. Like it's very simple and it's very cool.
I want to see more of Debbie because she has another one of those little casual like gestures when Red Death is saying something. Like Red Death, he didn't say anything for that entire scene where they're sitting in that in the end. Toward the end.
When she's sitting on the desk.
You were sitting on there, it's like 16 candles.
Yeah.
And then she kind of throws her hands up like,
what the fuck?
After she was ranting about it's just a bunch of silly old men.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of like, case in point. But it's so subtle and so well done.
and then the horse like sitting in the chair with his little hooves up. And fucking Red Death's fascination with like immediately changing allegiances to whoever
whoever's the rightful sovereign. Yeah.
Which is interesting though, because like as you remember,
it just goes to show how old school he really is when he's trying to fit in with this modern guild.
Look right here, moon landing, right there in the background.
Oh wow!
See?
Yeah, wow!
Right there.
And there's Kubrick.
Yep.
I didn't piece that together before.
Now, what's interesting is that Bobby St. Simone, wife of Force Majeure, Debbie St. Simone, daughter, Force Majeure's child.
Yep.
So if Bowie had not usurped, Debbie would be the rightful heir to the guild.
Yeah.
Theoretically in that timeline, because if we go back, we remember that. You
had mentioned this. Yeah.
Before I get too into that, I do want to point this out because I noticed this immediately when we watched this movie. He's eating Alpha Dog cereal. He's wearing his Rusty Venture outfit. He likes a different cereal more. We've heard of a different cereal mentioned.
Nutraman.
So he doesn't. We don't. But
you don't get a prize.
This is right before Jonas walks in. And like he sees his dick come out of his pants,
right?
And
he went from mentor to
this is the moment your father went from father and protector to tormentor
rival.
Yeah.
There you go. Your Killinger is very Middle Eastern. You silly Billy.
You silly Billy. Oh, it is. It's like Dr. Haji Killinger.
That tickles me.
But yeah, so having like that just makes it so much more of like a shitty thing that Jonas did to Rusty.
Yeah,
because he had just like gotten kind of like some affirmation from an adult, from a mother figure, and then Jonas has to walk in and take his dick out to show that he's the one that's in charge.
Take it out.
Well, he doesn't take it out, but he doesn't put it back in either. Like, you know, when that happens, like it's not just
you feel the breeze.
Yeah, well, you feel the crease of the pants on the bottom of your wiener. Like there's stuff there.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point is that if this had not have happened, Debbie would be heir to the guild. But in reality, Dean is heir to the guild because of Jonas Venture being the one who's to start the guild. And then
the Thaddeus.
Yes, Thaddeus Venture. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thaddeus Venture started the guild, and then that was taken over by Phantom and Force Majeure.
Oh, wow.
So if you think about it, in both of his parental lines, Dean and Hank are heirs to the guild.
Wow.
From their dad's side and from their mom's gene side.
That is fucking nutty.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow.
And now we're back in Barbarella Land. And I love the idea, too, that she kind of like, she's very grandmotherly towards them, and that this isn't the first time.
This is the first time. See, that bothered me at first until she said that, and I was like, okay, Venture Brothers, you tied it up nicely.
It bothered you until she said this isn't the first time?
This isn't the first time. I was like, how did they not...
How did they not ever just come right up the road here?
Yeah, but it's way more believable with Hank, you know, because he's Hank.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably like there's been times when both of them have come there. There's probably one figures it out, the other one does.
And then Dean retains it.
Did you fuck Debbie? Or why did you fuck Debbie?
Man, Doc Venture just gets accused of slinging so much dick that he does not sling. Like, remember the Mike Soriyama funeral?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How does this keep happening to me?
Oh, that was a weird episode, the Mike Soriyama one.
Yeah. Well, he kind of had it right because, you know, Brock was there too, quite by accident.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he was the one who fucked Leslie Cohen.
And it is, what was it, when... So it also, like, this kind of antagonistic relationship here of him, like, accusing Venture of fucking his girlfriend, and also, like, he would know that the boys, like, were born around a little bit after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's that scene where... right before Captain Sunshine flies in and saves Hank, he's like, soon, he has like the little robot caterpillars or what the fuck ever, like, and they're tied up in the cocoon, and he's like, soon they will destroy the only living proof that you have ever had sex. And it's just like, actually.
But...
Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, so yeah, much like you, I was just like, "Oh my God, everyone is going to die!" It was like, what is happening right now?
This is how they end it. Everybody's fucking dead.
Yeah,
okay, I accept it. I was ready. I really was,
and I've seen it. It's the blood coming out.
It's
of the
blood coming out of the ass. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that's not.
You're
good.
fucking done for, Hatred. I'm sorry.
There's an interesting cut here where I feel like we lost a little bit of stuff. So we have Hatred grabbing him, and Gary's on the pole, and now all of a sudden, like, Gary's over here, and it's just like we got to shorten this scene down. Like, this is going on too long.
I hate to be that guy, but your audio recorder, are we sure it'll record everything?
Everything that we're saying?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it?
I mean,
no, good.
We're good. All right. Well then.
I hate to be that guy who ruins the flow of the conversation by checking with unnecessarily technical questions.
Listen, as someone
who's recorded many things that we then found out later did not actually record.
And we were like, at the end, we were like, oh, that was really good. I can't wait to hear how that sounds when we play it back. There was no playback.
I love that it's because Jefferson is being the conduit in the outside world, between worlds.
I love
he
how
is
they
also
did that.
the head. Like,
yeah, I really love how they brought that back. It's like, oh, Jefferson really does have powers. Remember?
Yeah, he's kind of halfway between worlds, you know.
Makes me wonder if all Blackula hunters are like that. Like, if you remember in Days of Future Past, where it's like they used Kitty Pryde as a conduit between future and past, which I'm not even sure could have worked.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. You can stop there.
Even by their rules, I'm not sure that would have worked.
I saw that movie. I didn't understand a fucking thing that was happening in it, and I did not enjoy it very much.
It doesn't matter.
I was just like, none of this makes sense.
That movie just does not matter.
And it's loud. Why is it so loud?
Yeah. I can't even remember where I was going with that.
Your Kitty Pryde is like...
Oh, yeah, Jefferson Twilight.
Jefferson Twilight is the Kitty Pryde to Orpheus's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Right?
More or less, but I had a point. I had a better point other than pop culture references strewn together in a sentence.
Well, when you come to it, we'll be all ears.
Sure.
By the way, I'm not your mother. Yeah, I know.
I know. I get it. I know.
Have we met? Oh, God damn it. And I love everyone who does meet them, who has met them in the past, always still comments like how young they look. Where it's just like, oh, you should really be like in your like 25s now, right? Yeah. Like,
what kind of chemicals is Doc giving you? Little do they know.
I like that this is I like that this is about her and Sheila. Like, I'm really glad it's not
that turn when Red Death pointed that out. I was like, this is yeah, that I thought that was going to go down a big twisty corkscrew roller coaster, bigger than it did.
Yeah,
but I thought this was going to be a full blown obsession with Sheila, not just there should be more women in charge.
Yeah. No, it's
which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But
I just like the fact that it's not like she was obsessed with the Monarch. And
I like it that she was obsessed with Sheila better because
Sheila's awesome.
She's more competent. She's powerful. She's intelligent. She's the character that the creators would want to fuck the most.
What? What?
Oh yeah, that came up a lot in commentary. What Venture Brothers character would you have sex with? Girls and guys.
And they both picked Dr. Girlfriend?
Yeah, multiple times. Actually, Doc Hammer has a thing for Dr. Girlfriend. I mean,
it's his voice.
It's him. Yeah, exactly.
It's his. What the fuck does that mean? He writes the character and does the voice. That's like saying a thing is like, hey.
That's like narcissism with extra steps.
Yeah, it's masturbation with extra steps. Or it's just like, did he name his hand? He does the thing. The thing where you close your hand and you put your thumb right here and it makes it look like you're talking with your mouth. And like,
oh yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc, give it to me. I like it that
way.
But
if you were gonna be,
that's how he jerks off.
If you were gonna be masturbatory with your own body of work, you couldn't pick a better fucking body of work. It's really good.
Don't talk about Sheila's body like that.
I'm not talking. She's a person. She's the
That's why she's in fucking underwear this whole second half of the movie. Just so they could get their rocks off one last time.
And why do you think there was, fucking farmer's daughter and cheerleader outfit? All of Monarch's fantasies are Doc's. We know.
Oh, I forgot about the cheerleader outfit. I love when 21's all depressed and she just jumps up on the bed. Yeah. G-A-R-Y. You ain't got no alibi. You're Gary. You're Gary. He's like, okay, I have never seen that before.
Really thought they were gonna have a one nighter, but
no, she wouldn't do that to the
Monarch. No.
Well, no, because they've that's part of their because he's been involved with them before, I think. Because Monarch has that weird little kink where he likes to watch, and
oh yeah,
I think that all three of them have been together.
Wait, haven't the Moppets gotten in on it too?
I think the Moppets have also gotten in on it. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Out of all of the Venture Brothers, out of all of the characters on the Venture Brothers that have come and gone, I miss the Moppets the least.
Told Tim, Tom, and Kevin. I don't recall what happened to them. Do you?
I'm sure they died at some point. I remember after they got married, they stopped wearing their Moppet costumes and they started wearing the little cocoon costumes. The Pupa Twins, yeah. And then I don't recall what happened to them after they blew up the car and killed 24.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I remembered them doing, is pressing the button on the device. All right, so when you were watching this for the first time and you saw this flash of light, did you know what the fuck you were looking at?
No.
Me neither. No. I had the same reaction that they all did, and I was just like, what the hell?
And then it kind of it showed up, and then I was like, I thought that robot got blown up.
No.
It didn't?
No. I think we've only seen it in that one episode. That was the Lepidopterist. That was season.
What did JJ sacrifice himself in?
A rocket, right? He was doing like a Batman thing.
Was it a rocket?
I thought it was like a Batman thing.
I thought it was the robot. I don't
think it was the robot.
Misremembering that.
It was season 3, episode 10 was the Lepidopterist, and that's where like they introduced Ventronic as their kind of, Power Rangers Megazord thing, and that's where he like slices the cocoon almost in half, and then the Monarch decides to like, oh, if we can trick him into trying to kill us, then I can arch Rusty, because that was a show of lethal force. And so they like rig that whole little TV camera system thing.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. I do like the idea that in the future, like Hank and Dean just kind of will stop by and just hang out with their grandma a little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
that would be nice.
That would be. I would enjoy that.
This is very cute. I love this. That Dean falls in, both because he's too worried that it's taking too long, and also just so that Hank can get some like revenge on him.
And he's dressed as a Atreyu.
Yeah. I didn't pick that up. That's so good. You're right. He's a Atreyu.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That's great. I love that. But yeah, like I think that if Hank did just like come out of the coma and immediately forgive him, that would feel a little unnecessary. But because we saw both him forgive him in his mind, but then also the personalities that were still mad at him did get to beat the shit out of him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, well, you got your,
you got a little bit of a mental catharsis.
Yeah, you got a little bit of what you deserve. You know what you did.
Yeah. You poached the pootie. You don't do that, dog. Not to your brother.
It's a skyscraper. So the Venture Industries, Venture Tower, formerly Impossible Tower, formerly before that built by Jonas.
Okay.
That was the old Venture Industries before it became Impossible Industries.
Sure.
Like Professor Impossible bought that from either Rusty or from Dr. Venture.
Probably fell into default.
Yeah. Do you think Dr. Venture, or do you think Jonas built it or had it built in such a way that the base of the tower exactly matched the base of the compound back home?
Without a doubt.
Like, it seems like something he would do, right?
Jonas is a contingency guy.
Yeah.
He really is. Through and through.
So I do think it's funny that this like fits perfectly into place into the ruins of the home, but also it makes perfect sense.
I loved it. Everything's just falling back into place, full circle, the ultimate callback, masters of callback media.
But then also Rusty kind of gets what he wants, because he says, like, in this episode when he's talking, or in this movie when he's talking to Billy, he says, like, oh, I don't want this. I just want to go back home to my land to be by myself and, like, work on my projects. And he kind of gets that. Like, he gets to keep his house, but just like, who among us has not, living in the city, been thought, hey, I really like this house, but I would love to just fucking pick it up and take it to where there's no people.
Yeah, no shit.
And put it back down there.
Yeah.
I love that Samson had so much faith in Dot that they would find a way out of it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And obviously Hunter's not going to go for it until it's kind of a sure thing, but that's consistent with his character. And he does still, like, he gives it his all when he decides he's going to go do it. That's another one that I never thought would be so important or make it so long.
Hunter-gatherers?
Hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
Like, as it's like, hey, we've got one Hunter S. Thompson joke. And then we're going to turn him into a woman, and then we're just going to, like, he's going to be undercover, and then he's not going to be a woman anymore. And it's just like, what are you doing?
I'm so glad they stuck with him, though.
Yeah, he's everybody. Like, there's not a bad character in this movie.
No, it's true.
Everybody is working together. You've got, Venture, 3 of his past arch nemesis, the OSI, like, and then there we are, and then we're back home,
right where we began. And then our neighbors show back up. What? I love that Monarch was in Ned's pod. Like, it just defaulted to him. It is perfect.
And then this is a really interesting choice. Like, I knew that we're right here at the end, and I knew they were going to end it in something kind of shocking. I'm so glad that it kept going to the point that it did, because the entire time this is happening, I'm like, please don't end it right here. Please don't end it right here. Please don't end it right here.
Yeah, I was on the same page. I was thinking they were going to end it right there. And it was like...
It's like, you cannot do this to me.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah, again. Because that would just be like the Monarch, I'm taking your fucking car ending with, again. Like, but the fact that it is like, that it's Jonas, you know, it's the statue of Jonas with his giant fucking finger trying to like be in charge on top of
Tormentor rival.
Everything. And like, it's just so, it's so good. Like, you can't, it's the type of thing where you want to say, like, you can't write stuff this good, but it has been written, it has been done. It's here, we're enjoying it. Very few people can write fiction and long-form comedy and storytelling as good as Doc Hammer and Jackson Public. And to keep it consistent over 20 years, 7 seasons in a movie. It's just insane. Always gotta make it about you.
It really is a monument of a series. It inverted. The liver inverted.
Like, oh, wow. My bad.
They could just put one of those mice in them, you know? That was a season 6 callback too, where they just had they were looking for something to present at the science conference that was coming up, and they had a liver regrowing serum, but they put it in the mice, and the mice just kept regrowing livers. I'm so tired of exploding mice.
Yeah. So another thing of the fact that like this movie came apart from the series being canceled and them having to scramble and do as much as they could with what they could is that like they had to really figure out ways that they could cut corners on budget. And I think that this scene in particular is probably the biggest example of that, where we have almost like, you know, the celebratory relaxation scene between two characters to not show those characters is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But if you think of it as, oh, look how much money we can save on animation if they break into the guild invisible. Not thinking about the fact that they're both like naked in there.
Oh, yeah.
The legends are true.
I'm sure Doc thought of it once or twice.
Oh, I'm sure. But it's a great way to save money while still like being true to the characters and having like a nice little get together scene. We do a little bit of a callback to the Peril Partnership, so that's not completely out of the way, and that's really nice. Obviously, he just found out that he's part baboon. His monkey humping the leg. Yeah, monkey's got
He's got a patch on him.
A little patch on him.
Yep.
I love the Red Helper.
Yeah, Red Helper. It
Does he have a name?
Wooden Bender.
Wooden Bender. Yeah, he does. Oh, and look, you know, I've watched this 3 times. This is the first time I'm noticing this. Hatred is cradling Helper's head. Look, he's got him he's holding him like a baby.
He's just holding him up, just kind of chilling out.
Good.
Like you would with any dead buddy's head.
Well, he's not dead. Like that's
decapitated, still living buddy's head. Which is
he's making sure you can still see the room.
Yeah, you can still see and hear everything, and like not be on the floor.
Yeah. So
real bro stuff.
As we were rewatching Tag Sale You're It just a little while ago before this started, we came across one interesting line of dialogue.
Sure did.
Between Billy Quizboy and Pete White.
Yep, they were both standing in line waiting to get into the yard sale.
And they look over, they see Mrs. the Monarch, or Dr. Girlfriend
at the time.
Dr. Girlfriend at the time and the Monarch. And they're like swapping gossip about each other. And Billy says that he heard from a reliable source that Dr. Girlfriend has a baboon uterus.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting.
It's very interesting.
I can't possibly believe that they knew this is where they were going when they wrote that joke.
I can't think of it either, but it's going to be easier.
we were very like it's there's no way they were thinking of it, but at the same time, as you said then, it does very much feel like a game of telephone where there were.
They heard one thing. I'm gonna piss in this bowl.
No.
All right, I'll sit back down.
We're 5 seconds from the end of the movie.
Oh,
just hold it. You can hold your urine.
I am a man of a certain age.
The idea that like maybe somebody knew about a baboon's heritage got kind of passed down and told as like a game of telephone from one person to another.
Yeah.
And then like that seems very much like something that could happen.
Absolutely. It's very, very, very feasible.
I think this is a beautiful scene.
Oh yeah, with the watch. Yeah.
And anybody who like complains about not finding out about anything else that we did find out about, I would say that this is the answer to that, is because it's not about that. The show, the movie, the entire series is about like choosing your family. It's about the family that you chose to have, and it's it's weird and it's gross, and your mom might be your dad, and your uncle might have a little monkey in him, but they love you and they'll take care of you
always.
And that's a super important message, I think. And no matter what Helper goes through, he'll always survive.
Every time.
He's like Kenny from South Park.
Yeah.
And we talk about transformations again, hatred going from having hatred all the way down his chest to
Vatred.
To Vatred to then just the V.
Just the V.
I think the D might still be there. I think he might
kept the D.
I think he said he kept the D.
Makes sense.
I love this so much. So here's the idea, right? Sheila walks into the room and sits down with the monarch, and she's just like, listen, whatever you want to do, we'll do it. You just tell me what to do. And then it cuts away to this scene. So what he said was he thinks for a second, and he's like, how long are you going to be invisible? And she's like, oh, probably a couple more hours. And he's like, okay, I want you to walk out there, count to 30, and then pants Dr. Venture. Just yank him right down, and then I'll walk in. And she's like, okay, honey. and like that, and it's the perfect ending to it, because obviously we're not going to get very many more, but these people will none of these people are in a stagnant place. They're going to live. They're going to go on in their lives. They're going to have fun.
They absolutely are, and they will continue and living and loving and just pulling wacky shenanigans and hijinks.
Man, go Pete. Just go.
I'm gonna.
Just go. Good Lord.
Oh my God.
Learn some discipline.
I'm going to piss my pants.
I'm just going to let Eric go and pee, and I will sit with you here through the credits for just a few minutes while we get to the ending scene. The Venture Brothers is a fantastic show, and I'm really glad that anybody is as into it as Eric and I are. Honestly, it has, let's see, it was 2003 when the first pilot aired. It is 2023 now when the movie comes out. That is an insane amount of time for 8 seasons of television to be produced. Not even 8 seasons, 7 seasons of television to be produced. But with that, it's kept consistent in both quality and relevance throughout. And I think that's a very, very beautiful thing. And here's the last little bit, which is probably the sweetest thing that we've ever seen in the entire
I loved it. I'm
Venture
back.
Brothers
Organic
series.
commentary.
And if you haven't seen this scene, the ending credit scene, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. I posted it because we have a friend who watched this movie on Amazon, and apparently Amazon just doesn't show the end credit scene if you don't specifically go back and check for it afterwards. It'll just stop after the credits, which is very stupid. But yeah. So that was the Venture Brothers movie, and this is probably the last Venture Brothers that any of us will have, whether it's for the foreseeable future, for all of the time, or if nothing else, at least the next 4 to 5 years, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because even if they get like pick back up or something, it's still gonna like this shit takes a long time to make.
It takes a long time to gauge how successful it's going to be, and then they decide whether or not they want to throw money at them.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like from the point that they start writing to the point where the show comes out, that's 4 years.
They're
like,
writing right now. I mean,
I'm sure they are.
They gotta be.
Hopefully, the only thing that we can wish for is that Adult Swim doesn't decide to do the worst thing possible, and that is try and monopolize these characters and this IP that they own in like really shitty, really terrible ways.